There is one specific kind of touch that makes a mature woman's entire nervous system tell her, at a level deeper than thought, deeper than decision, that you are the one she has been waiting for her entire life. Not a pickup line, not a rehearsed move she's seen 1,000 times from men who read the same 3 Reddit threads. Something entirely different. Something most men will never understand because nobody ever told them the truth about how a woman who has actually lived, who has been hurt, who has healed, who has learned exactly what she wants, how she experiences connection through physical presence. Today that changes for you. Stay with me all the way to the end because the 7th touch I'm going to share with you is the one that separates the men women settle for from the men women surrender to. Let's talk about what's actually happening out there. Most men, and brother, I say this with nothing but respect, most men approach a mature woman the same way they'd approach a girl in her early 20s. Fast, surface level, trying to impress with boldness or humor or the sheer volume of their attention. And it doesn't work. You already know it doesn't work because you felt it. That moment when you thought you were doing everything right. You were confident, you were present, you made her laugh, and then somewhere between the second conversation and the third, something cooled. She pulled back. She went quiet. And you were left standing there replaying every moment, asking yourself what you missed. That feeling right there, that specific confusion, that's what this video is about. Because the truth almost no one talks about is this. Mature women don't fall for what you do with words. They fall for what you do with your hands, your timing, your stillness, the unspoken message that moves through touch before your brain has even formed a sentence. Her nervous system is reading you constantly. And right now, most men are sending the wrong signal without even knowing it. Here's what's happening biologically. Studies show that women, particularly women who have lived through real relationships, real heartbreak, real life, become neurologically more attuned to touch as a communication channel over time. Her subconscious has been trained by every past relationship to detect authenticity versus performance at a primal level. She can feel the difference between a man who is touching her because he wants something and a man who is touching her because he is genuinely present with her. Her nervous system is wired to respond to the second man with something that resembles chemical recognition. Like her body already knows you, even if you just met 3 weeks ago. That recognition, that instinctive pull she feels but cannot fully explain to her friends, that is what we are building today. And before anyone calls this manipulation, stop right there. That word doesn't live here. What I'm giving you is not a script to run on an unsuspecting woman. It's an understanding of how genuine masculine presence communicates itself through physical contact. The men who use tricks and techniques to manufacture closeness, those men eventually get exposed. What we're building here is real. It's the kind of thing that works because it's true, not because it's clever. Let's get into the 7 touches. And I'll tell you right now, I'm holding the most powerful one for the end, because it will make no sense without the foundation we're building underneath it. Level 1, the greeting touch. Brother, the way you touch a woman when you first see her sets the emotional temperature for everything that follows. Everything. Most men either go too soft, a weak side hug that communicates uncertainty, or they go too early on the physical scale, reaching for something her comfort hasn't offered yet. Neither of those is what we're doing. What a mature woman responds to at the greeting is a touch that communicates that you are genuinely glad she is here. Not performing gladness, actually feeling it and letting that feeling travel through your hands. A hand placed gently but firmly on her upper arm as you lean in to greet her. Palm flat, warm, 1 to 2 seconds. That's it. It sounds simple because the mechanics are simple. The magic is in the intention behind it. Her nervous system registers that contact and files it immediately. This man is calm. This man is here. This man is not desperate. That's the message. And she receives it before a single word is spoken. Level 2, the guiding hand. There is a moment in almost every early interaction, a restaurant, a doorway, a crowded space, where the physical layout of the world creates a natural opportunity for you to lead. Most men let that moment pass. They walk ahead without thinking, or they gesture vaguely and let her figure it out herself. What a mature woman feels in those moments is not independence. What she feels is the small, quiet ache of a man who doesn't know how to be present for her. The guiding hand is placed at the small of her back, barely touching. Just enough pressure to be felt, not enough to be directive. You are not pushing her. You are signaling, I see where we're going. I'm here. You don't have to navigate this alone. She will feel it in her spine first, then somewhere deeper. Her subconscious interprets that touch as masculine presence offering safety. And brother, for a mature woman who has spent years in relationships where she had to be her own anchor, safety is the most attractive thing in the world. Level 3, the listening touch. This one is rare. This is one most men completely overlook because it requires something that doesn't come naturally to men who are performing confidence rather than living it. The listening touch happens when she is talking about something that matters to her. Not a funny story, not small talk. Something real, something that has weight for her. You reach over. You place your hand over hers for just a moment. No words. You let her keep talking. You don't interrupt to show empathy. You don't say, I understand, or I know how you feel. You just hold that contact for 5, maybe 6 seconds, and then you release it naturally, like it was never a big deal. Because for a man who is genuinely present, it isn't a big deal. It's just what presence does. What her nervous system experiences in those 6 seconds is something that years of therapy try to recreate with language. She feels witnessed. She feels that her words landed on someone real. That touch communicates, I am not waiting for my turn to speak. I am actually here with you. And for a mature woman who has been in relationships where she talked and nobody truly listened, that 6-second touch will stay with her longer than an entire evening of conversation. I want to pause here and be honest with you for a second. I know this territory personally. I spent years thinking that connection was built through the right words, the right stories, the right display of who I was. I had conversations with women that I thought went perfectly: chemistry, laughter, depth. And I could not understand why nothing grew from them. It took me a long time to understand that I was filling the space so completely with language that I never left room for her nervous system to respond to something quieter and more real. When I finally learned how presence communicates through stillness and touch, everything changed. Not because I had better lines, because I finally stopped performing and started actually showing up. Brother, if any part of that sounds familiar, keep watching. We're just getting to the middle of the map. Level 4, the remembering touch. Mature women have been disappointed more times than they'll usually admit. Not necessarily betrayed or abandoned, though sometimes that too, but disappointed in the small, daily way that happens when a man stops paying attention. When her needs become invisible. When she starts to feel like she's sharing space with someone rather than building something with someone. The remembering touch is how you communicate, without a single word, that you pay attention. You remember that her shoulder has been tight from stress at work. You don't announce it. You don't make it a thing. You just, in a quiet moment, when the conversation has found its natural rest, you reach over and give that shoulder a brief, firm, intentional press. 2 seconds. Then you release and continue the evening like it was nothing. What you just did in those 2 seconds is monumental. You told her, without the awkwardness of language, that you heard her when she told you about the stress. You stored it. You carried it. You noticed her. For her subconscious, that is extraordinary. Her nervous system will produce a response in that moment that she will struggle to put into words later when she's telling her friend about you. All she'll be able to say is, I don't know, he just makes me feel seen. That's the remembering touch at work. Level 5, the protective touch. Now, I want to be precise here because this one is often misunderstood. Protective does not mean possessive. Brother, there is a canyon of difference between those two things. And a mature woman knows exactly where the edge of that canyon is. She's been near it before, possibly fallen in. Protective is the hand that appears at her back when you cross a busy street. It's the arm that comes up naturally in a crowd, not gripping, not pulling, just present, creating a small perimeter of safety around her. It's the moment when something startles her and your hand finds her forearm before either of you has consciously decided it should. That instinctive response, that's what the word primal actually means. Not dominance, not possession. Protection that emerges from a genuine desire to keep her safe. When that touch lands, the natural, unperformed kind, her subconscious receives a signal that her nervous system has been searching for since before she could name what she was searching for. This man is wired to protect, not control, protect. And brother, that difference, that sacred difference, is something she will feel immediately. She may not be able to tell you exactly why she suddenly feels more relaxed around you, but you'll see it in her shoulders dropping, in her laugh loosening, in the way she starts to lean slightly in your direction without realizing she's doing it. Level 6, the intentional departure touch. Most men don't think about how they say goodbye. They think about the hello, they think about the middle of the evening, and then the end arrives and they handle it like a loose thread. A quick hug, maybe a kiss that felt like a question rather than a statement, and then both of you walk to your separate cars carrying that slightly unresolved feeling. A mature woman notices the departure, often more than she notices the arrival. Because the way a man ends an interaction tells her everything about how he holds her in his mind when she's not in the room. The intentional departure touch is slow. It is deliberate. When you hug her goodbye, and brother, always hug her goodbye, you hold it one full breath longer than feels normal. Not desperately long, not the kind of long that makes her think you don't want to let go because you're anxious. Confident long. Like a man who is in no rush because he knows what he has. As you pull back, your hands slide down her arms and hold at her hands for just a moment. You look at her, actually look, not glance, and then you let go. What she carries home from that is not the restaurant or the conversation or even the laugh she had at the thing you said. She carries that touch. It will replay in her nervous system for days. Studies on emotional memory show that the last physical sensation of an interaction is disproportionately stored compared to everything that came before it. Her subconscious files the end of the night as the emotional summary of the whole evening. You just wrote that summary with your hands. Now, we've covered 6. And if you've been paying attention, and I know you have, brother, you've noticed that each level builds on the one before it. You can't skip to level 6 without the foundation underneath it. Her nervous system doesn't trust in a vacuum. It trusts through accumulation, through pattern, through the growing subconscious recognition that this man keeps showing up the same way, the safe way, the real way. Which brings us to the 7th touch. I told you at the start I was saving this one, and everything I've shared with you tonight was preparation for this moment. Because without it, this touch lands wrong. With it, this touch has the potential to create what I can only describe as emotional surrender. The moment when a mature woman stops holding any part of herself back and gives herself to the connection fully, without reservation, without the wall she's built over years of protecting herself from men who didn't know how to hold what she was offering. The 7th touch is the face touch. Brother, I need you to hear the precision of what I'm about to say. This is not the casual romantic gesture you've seen in 100 movies. This is not the hand that cups her face in a choreographed dramatic moment. This touch is quieter than that, more specific, and infinitely more powerful. It is a single moment. It might arise when she says something vulnerable, something real, something that shows you a piece of herself she doesn't show easily. It might come at the end of a long evening when the conversation has gone somewhere deep and honest. You reach up slowly, brother, slowly, and with the back of your fingers, not your palm, the back of your fingers, you touch her cheek. Once. Gently. For 2 seconds. And you don't say anything. The back of the hand, not the palm, the back. That difference is everything. The palm is assertive, the palm takes. The back of the fingers, those are tender, vulnerable even. That touch communicates that you are not performing masculinity in this moment. You are experiencing something, and you're letting her see you experience it. For a mature woman whose nervous system has been trained by years of men who kept their emotional experience hidden or performed or weaponized, A man who shows his tenderness through the specific quiet of that touch, her entire system responds. Neurologically, that touch activates something that no word, no gift, no grand gesture can reach. It reaches the part of her brain that was wired before language, the primal chemical part that decides, at a level she cannot override with logic or caution or the advice of her friends who tell her to take it slow. This man is safe. This man is real. This man, this specific man, is someone I want to open my whole life to. That is emotional surrender, not a performance of it, the real thing. And it does not come from strategy. It comes from a man who understands that the most powerful masculine presence is the one that is gentle enough to be trusted with something fragile. Brother, let that land. Most men will never know this, not because they aren't capable of it, but because nobody ever told them the truth in a way they could actually use. They were told to be bold, to be forward, to take up space. And there's a time for all of that. I'm not dismissing masculine presence, I'm expanding what it means. The man who knows when to be still, who knows when to let his hands speak for him, who knows when the most powerful thing he can do is reach out with the back of his fingers and say without words, I see you, and I'm not afraid of what I see. That man is not common. That man is rare. And right now, you are one of a very small group of men who has this map. The men who don't will keep doing what they've always done. Talking more, trying harder, wondering why the women they want most always seem to slip just out of reach. And the men who understand what we've been through today will start to show up differently. Not louder, quieter, not more complicated, simpler, more present, more real. That shift, from performance to presence, that is the whole thing, brother. That is the raw reality that sits underneath every single point we covered today. Levels 1 through 7, from the greeting touch to the face touch, every one of them only works when it comes from genuine presence. You can't fake this, and you shouldn't want to, because the woman you're building this with deserves the real version of you. The man who actually shows up, the man who actually sees her, the man who has done enough work on himself to stop needing the approval of every interaction and start trusting the accumulation of real moments over time. That's who you're becoming. And brother, if this opened something in you today, if some part of this conversation gave you something to carry forward, then do one thing for me. Hit like and subscribe. Not for me. Do it so that more men can access this truth. Because there are men in your circle right now, good men, real men, who are struggling with this in silence. Men who are doing everything they think they're supposed to do and getting nowhere. This content reaches them when you support it. That's the only reason I'm asking. And before you go, I want to plant something in your mind that we're going to explore in the next video. Something that builds directly on everything we covered today. Because the 7 touches we talked about today, those are about what she feels in your presence. What I'm going to show you next time is something different. It's about what she feels when you're not there. The invisible pull that makes a woman think about you at random moments, miss you without knowing why, reach for her phone to text you before she's fully decided to. The subconscious trigger that keeps you in her mind even when you've left the room. That, brother, that is where this gets very interesting. Stay with me.